Emotiv is a neuroengineering company. We have developed a brain-computer interface that utterly transforms the way in which humans can interact with machines. The way that Emotiv has created its detection suites is based on the way in which humans interact with each other. So we have three categories of detections: expressive, affective and cognitive. Expressive is all about understanding your facial expressions. An avatar, when you smile, it can actually understand you're smiling and express that. And what that does, it allows your expressions in a virtual environment to become far more intuitive, far more natural and personal, and ultimately more lifelike. The next detection suite that we have is affective, which is all about understanding your emotional experience. And really the most powerful aspect of this detection is to be able to adjust the game dynamically to your personal experience. Music and sound, intensity of the music and colours in the game, the mood can change based on your emotional experience. And lastly, cognitive is all about fulfilling mankind's longest and oldest fantasies. And that's the ability for you to be able to control objects just by simply thinking about it. People that purchase their Epoch will also have access to a next generation online portal that will allow you to experience your own content that you have today in a totally different way. Your music will be able to vary based on your emotional experience. Your photos will actually change and reorganize itself based on what you feel. In addition to that, Immortal is the avenue and the gateway for you to download additional content that is available with the Emotiv Neuro headset. The Emotiv Epoch Neuro headset will also be bundled with a software called EmoKey that will allow the end user to be able to attach the emotive detections into any of your existing PC games. So instead of pressing a button to cast a spell, you can now just simply think about it and be able to see that happen in the game.
I am moving this ball with only my mind.
Let's try to relax just a little bit.
No keyboard, no game controls, just pure brain power. This is brainwave technology taken to a whole new level by a Silicon Valley-based company called NeuroSky.
It's kind of the first application of telekinesis.
Engineers here have big plans to revolutionize the way people work, play, and live using just their thoughts. And it starts with this, Uncle Milton's Star Wars Science Force Trainer, a new game that goes for about $100.
Well, the goal is to get the ball to rise and control it.
This headset has a sensor that reads my brain's electrical signals. It then sends them to a wireless receiver inside the game's base, which lights up when I'm concentrating.
Too much concentration. Relax my brain. That's tough.
And your brain waves can control bigger objects too.
This is what NeuroSky calls the brain race. I have this headset on which is measuring my brain waves, and the second I start concentrating, this cart should move forward. Let's see. Okay, that is kind of cool.
Now imagine a reality TV show like CBS's Survivor and throw in this type of technology. NeuroSky is in talks with TV producers to develop new reality shows that will do just that.
Wouldn't it be fun to have a reality show? Wouldn't it be fun if people can change their environments using their minds? Could you light things on fire? Could you raise a drawbridge by concentrating? Could you have to relax enough to have something levitate to move you to the next level?
But if a reality TV contestant could start a fire with his mind, what about a terrorist? James Carafano with Washington's Conservative Heritage Foundation says that is not a major worry yet.
For every single technology that you develop, somebody figures out a malicious use for. We're still very limited in terms of you know how far away you can be, very primitive in the kinds of things you can do. So at this point, I think we're far away from this being some kind of neuro threat.
According to this article in the Washington Post magazine, in 1994, the Air Force Research Laboratory carried out experiments where scientists used technology to transmit phrases into the heads of human subjects. How? by burying subliminal messages in microwaves and beaming them into a person's head. It seems like a weapon torn from the pages of a comic book. The Air Force denies it's working on one. But patent number 6470214, issued on October 22, 2002, says otherwise. The patent title, Method and Device for Implementing the Radio Frequency Hearing Effect. Patent holder, the U.S. Air Force. Documents surrounding the development of this secret weapon are classified. But what is known is that microwaves carry energy. When a microwave pulse is absorbed by our body, this energy is converted to heat, causing the tissue to expand slightly and then contract when it cools. If the microwave were aimed at our head, this expansion and contraction would be heard as a clicking sound that could be encoded into words.
With that sort of technology, you could give someone an instruction, or you could perhaps make them think they were going mad. And it quite clearly talks about the military applications of this technology.
Is patent number 6470214 a top-secret mind control weapon? According to this passage in the patent documents, this device can beam energy waves that can be, quote, converted to nerve signals which are sent to the brain, thereby enabling intelligible speech to be perceived by the brain. The result? The person hears voices that aren't there, much like the voices reportedly heard by targeted individuals. If this mind control weapon exists, could this technology be deployed on a mass scale? There's speculation that the government already has.
He who controls the thoughts of the people controls the world. Historically speaking, warfare has been about territory. The future may be the battle for the mind.
Is that battle to control minds already being waged on a mass scale? Disturbing questions have been raised about a U.S. government program known as HAARP.
HAARP is the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project. It was developed initially by the Navy and Air Force back in the 1980s. But essentially it was to modify or alter the ionosphere, a layer that begins about 30 miles above the Earth's surface.
HAARP is a bank of 180 antennas, each as tall as a 7-story building, erected near Gakona, Alaska. The antennas emit extremely low-frequency waves, also known as ELF waves, into the upper atmosphere, which bounce back to Earth and allegedly provide advanced data for studying weather patterns. Researchers like Nick Begich and even some scientists speculate HAARP is being used as a weapon against our enemies to create severe storms, hurricanes, even earthquakes, all part of a covert weather warfare program. But HAARP has also been linked to mind control.
There are many people who believe that systems such as HAARP, which the US government says is about researching the ionosphere and the effects that it has on communication systems. But a lot of people don't believe that. They think that's a cover story, and they think that what this is really all about is behavior modification and mind control.
You'd have a signal that would hit the ionosphere, begin to pulse the energy into the ionosphere, and the ionosphere, this layer, would begin to pulse back. So it changes it from a direct current to an alternating current, sending back to the Earth in the ELF range, extremely low frequency range of 1 to 20 hertz. Those same frequencies, 1 to 20 hertz, happen to correlate with predominant brain frequencies in human beings.
There is scientific data to back up claims that ELF waves can affect human behavior. During the 1960s and 1970s, Dr. Andrija Puharich studied the impact ELF waves have on the brain. What he discovered was shocking. Dr. Puharich found that a 6.6 hertz ELF wave could cause depression. A 7.83 hertz ELF wave made a person feel good, producing an altered state. and a 10.80 Hertz ELF wave could trigger riotous behavior. His findings were loudly dismissed as foolishness by U.S. military leaders. But secretly, black ops mind control projects using ELF waves were being discussed at the highest levels of government.
We can do things in our brain. We know the capability is there, the information necessary to make these big leaps in and of themselves. Can I use this negatively? Can I use it to harm people? Absolutely.
President Lyndon B. Johnson had on his board of science advisors geophysicist J.F. McDonald, who wrote that by using accurately timed, artificially excited electronic strokes, quote, one could develop a system that would seriously impair the brain performance of very large populations in selected regions over an extended period.
If you go back to the work of Gordon J.F. McDonald in the 1970s, you'll find that he was talking about being able to modulate a signal into the ionosphere that would be able to return a signal that the human body would couple with, would lock onto and begin to follow in a manner that would change the emotional state of people over a large geographic area.
Does HAARP fulfill McDonald's prophecy? Has the day of mass mind control arrived?
For those people that believe HAARP is about mind control, the implications are immense. This isn't just about influencing the behavior of one or two individuals. If it can be done on such a scale, you could effectively control the minds of entire populations.
The military potential of mind control is obvious. Enemies could be intimidated or be made passive without a shot being fired. The argument is that this would always be preferable to war. But could this technology be used to create a better world? It may depend on one's definition of better.
Imagine controlling people's behavior so that you could stop them being aggressive. There's a sort of utopian vision, perhaps, of world peace. And on the face of it, that sounds a good thing. But if that's not our natural behavior, I think we stop being human if we're subjected to this. We become little more than lab rats running around a wheel.
The barrier between science and science fiction is all but evaporated. Technology is neutral. In the end, it is the application, it is the intent of the user that determines whether technology is used for good or evil.
It was the first time two people had electronically communicated by thought alone. In 2006, Kevin wants to implant a chip directly into his brain.
In the short term, we're going to see implants used to help people who are paralysed switch on lights, operate the TV, just by thinking about it.
In 30 years, he believes we'll all have chips in our brains.
But ultimately, having extra memory, having downloads from the computer, uploading from the brain. Earth is going to be controlled by cyborgs. Humans are going to be something of a subspecies.
We'll be half man, half machine, with super memory, super senses and superpowers.
I think quite clearly that's where we're going. Superhuman.